Whoa, that just cut off weird, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit awkward.
That was strange. Well, heck, I didn't even hit to go live, and it went live. So here we are. We are live now on YouTube. So
surprise!
Got some glitchy stuff going on there. Well, welcome to week 6. That intro was as big a cluster as the fantasy season has been so far. So it's all kind of fitting. Almost. So there's that. Anyways, Kyle, what's up, man?
Oh, same old. Rebounding, hoping to rebound from another really bad week of fantasy football.
Yeah, well, we've been saying that for 4 weeks straight now. So moving on to Jack. Jack, how are you doing?
I'm in too many leagues. I'm feeling the other end of it, where it's like I'm up, I'm down, I'm all over the place, I'm spread thin. It's crushing me this year. I think I need to dial back.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much heartbreak I can take in too many leagues. I'm in about 10 this year, and they're all painful. They're all just so painful. And
I'm
so
in 26 different leagues, including tournaments, redraft, and dynasty, and that's not counting my best ball portfolio.
It's too many. I've been slowly chipping away at mine over the last few years. I'm down to 9, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get it below that. But yeah, I was 3-6 this week, so that's not a good week.
No kidding. Yeah, that's about how my week went. About 3-6.
It was my worst teams that won, so go figure that out.
There it is. I lost 2 games by less than a point. So I lost my Scott Fishbowl by 0.33 points because players just can't get their crap together. So loving
my
that.
Scott Fishbowl team is down bad right now. So I know. Honestly, we're struggling to cling to 500, and it is not looking good this week. Yeah, we're suffering from a lot of injuries and some bad bye week timing, and just it's like that in a lot of my leagues too. Like I feel like the leagues where I'm crushing are much fewer and further between this year.
Yeah,
I feel your pain in Fishbowl, bro. I have lost every match. Well, no, I take it back. I won week 1 by 0.05 points, and then I've lost everything since. And it's just my first 3 picks in that league were tight ends. And we know how that's gone. So
definitely not a year for tight ends. Definitely not a year for tight ends.
I had McBride, Kincaid, and Ingram, and that's all gone to crap. And then my next 3 picks were QBs, one of which was Tua. We know how that went.
Yeah,
so I'm just I'm taking it hard, and then half of my bench beyond that is hurt. So I feel you. Scott Fishbowl, not my year.
It's been rough. Yeah. I started off really strong in there. Lost Davante Smith. Mark Andrews has been giving me some big zeros. And then, of course, I bench him this week for the first time, and he gets me 16 points on my bench, and I lose by 0.33 points. So I blame Mark Andrews for the most part. I started off 2-0. Well, 4-0 technically, I guess, in there. Starting off really strong, up around the top 150 in the world. And now I'm down in the 800s. So,
I'm incredibly impressed with how my Scott Fishbowl team is doing. Like, to be 5-5, and let me read you my first 4 picks here. Patrick Mahomes, who we all know has had his own struggles.
Rough.
And then A.J. Brown, Tua, and Isaiah Pacheco. Out, IR.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like the fact that this team is 5-5.
You've had some luck in matchups.
Some of the rest of these picks that I made, but I also took Bryce Young as my 3rd quarterback. So thank God we were able to get Andy Dalton off waivers because it's been rough in these streets. But my tight end picks have really come through. I took Brock Bowers. I had Hunter Henry had that one big week. I have Tucker Kraft. So a lot of my tight end picks for having punted tight end a little bit ended up really working out for me.
I would like to
send carrying my team right now.
I would like to send a sincere kiss my ass to the entire tight end position this year.
No joke. It's been rough. It's been rough. Kelsey alive now, though. He's alive and kicking. I only took an injury, but here he is. Took an injury to Rice, but here he is. All right, let's get some shout-outs going over here really quick for some people hanging out with us. Let's see. let's see. CJS over on Instagram, what's up? He said, I told you about T, brother. Talking about T. Higgins, just giving it time. Yeah, but he'll let us down.
That's one of his 2 or 3 big games of the year. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a weird victory lap to take when we all know he's going to finish with 1,007 on the season.
Yeah, he's
he hits 1,500 yards.
He got a quarter yards for the year this week.
Yeah, he blew his wad probably. But honestly, this week for Cincinnati was really strange. I did not see them putting up those kind of numbers. But the team that I was playing against had Burrow and Chase on their team. Oh, that was a Scott Fishbowl team I was playing against. Huh, who knew? All right, cool. So I got really kicked around in there because of that. All right, let's see. Bing King, love it, tuned in. He says, can we talk about running back Tracy and the timing of his demise?
Demise? What demise?
He's not going to rise. He's a better running back than Singletary. I said it.
I was going to say, he's just getting his shot now.
He might hang on to that job.
He was it's funny because that's one of those things where it's that's a very common analyst thing to be like, I was the first, but it's I was the first, I feel on Tyrone Tracy. And then all of a sudden, my whole Twitter timeline was full of Tyrone Tracy sleeper news to the point where I was like, okay, well, if he's everybody, he's sleeper. He's not a sleeper anymore. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. Yeah.
But I really I have so much of him in best ball. It's actually crazy. He was a guy I really liked. And so I was able in a lot of leagues, I think just general advice. One of the things I've been doing is trying to get ahead of the waiver wire at this point, where it's on Sunday mornings or even after those first initial games have run in leagues where you're allowed to drop a bench guy who didn't do anything. If I've been doing that, and just it's especially with bye weeks now, there's dudes you can just pick up for free. I literally in a couple leagues stashed Eagles defense, just picked them up for free because they play Cleveland. So it's cool, got my defense ahead of everybody else. And now when I make my waiver drops on Wednesday, I'm just dropping whatever defense I had last week, as opposed to the bench scrub that, you know what I'm saying? It's I'm getting ahead of those moves. And one of the things too was Tyrone Tracy, as soon as that news was poking around that Singletary might miss the game, I scooped Tracy in a bunch of places where before people were able to go make that move this week, now they're going to be like, oh, where's Tyrone Tracy? Oh, shit, he's already on Jack's team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I love those Sunday morning pickups right for if you have the roster spots, going and picking up some long shots of just man, what if they go off this week? And so when you hit on those, it's a lot of fun.
Well, and it's not always in the morning too, right? Just to specify, a lot of times it's 4:00 in the afternoon, and I'm shit, these games aren't working out for me. Those first 8 games have run. I might have a Jordan Whittington or some dude on my bench that didn't have a good game, now is questionable and has a bye week coming up. I'll drop that guy and pick up someone who hasn't played yet or who is on the bye week or a defense for next week. That's kind of where I was at. Some leagues will allow you to drop the players that have already run.
I don't think I have any leagues like that.
I hate leagues like that, to be honest.
I don't think I have any leagues like that.
I think out of 26, there is maybe 1 or 2 of them where you cannot drop the player if they've already played, regardless if they're on your bench or not.
Wow. I think that's a weird rule to be able to. I think your roster should be locked. If their game is passed, they should be locked until.
I feel like if they're on your bench, you should be able to drop them because you didn't use them. That's most of the 90% of the leagues I play in. That's how it is. If it's a bench player, now if they're on your starting lineup, obviously you can't do that.
I think the scenario that you just laid out for us for being able to drop them if they had a bad game, you took a flyer on them, they had a bad game, they have a. I feel like that system of you gaming that system is a perfect example of why you shouldn't be able to do that. But if the rules allow you to do it, Jack, I think you're playing it right. If the rules allow it, you're doing it right. So
I think the whole point of fantasy is finding the individual rules of your league and how to manipulate them. That's that is what fantasy football is to me.
Yeah.
We stress that, especially in draft season, like know your league settings, because not all drafts are created equal based on your league settings. I had a dynasty that I drafted back in like May that it's an IDP league, but people were drafting it normal. But when you looked at like the IDP scoring, it was weighted so much heavier than the offense. So I went IDP early. And everybody thought I lost my mind, but I'm killing it in that league right now.
Mhm.
Like, so you got to
There's
know your
one
settings.
similar where I looked at the scoring and I was like, oh my God. And I tried to, I feel this is where I kind of almost feel bad sometimes, and I'm almost too competitive where I'm like, I don't want to feel like I cheated in a sense of like, I was the only guy who saw this rule and I just didn't say anything to anybody else. But like
True.
when I saw the scoring for this league, I just was like, damn, this is messed up. And then I kind of said something in the comments, and other people went and looked, and they were like, oh, well, thank you for saying something, because like it drastically changed the draft, even though it didn't affect the actual like ADP that much. But it was like the way it was weighted to specifically running just in general. So running backs and running quarterbacks. I was like, oh, this is outrageous. And so I just like hammered the crap out of those. And even though it was IDP, I was like, kick that down the road, because the way, again, the scoring works, I know all my sleeper guys will hit late. So I literally just took my first L in that league. I was undefeated until this week.
That's pretty impressive, because it's been an unpredictable season.
Those kind of details, though, are things that I'm going to keep to myself and give myself an advantage in the draft. I'm an a-hole, you know?
If it was really high stakes, I will admit, like if it was like $100 buy-in or more, that's where I get to a point of, you know, everybody else needs to just be responsible for themselves and accountable for themselves. But this was very much, I mean, shout out to you guys. It's for one of the Jersey leagues, right? So it's a little bit more friendly that way, where it's like, or if it's a home league and it's like $50 or less, like, and even honestly, my home league, when I'm the commish, I'm like very strenuous about like, I had a $50 league and I modeled a lot of the scoring off Scott Fishbowl, which is not like a normal way to do your scoring. And I told everyone, check the scoring before the draft. Like I said it 70 times. If you didn't catch on to it by then it is your own fault. But I feel like the thing of like where it's like you see it and then you don't say anything and then nobody knows, and it's like that's where it can become a little bit disingenuous, especially if you were the commish that set it up.
Well,
so
I was just about to say, it depends on if I'm the commish or not. If I'm the commish, I'll mention like weird rules or something like that. But like if I'm just in a league and I notice something that I can use to my advantage, I'm not going to say anything. But if I'm commish, I'll make sure and draw attention to it. But I did that though with Scott Fish. I thought I was being clever with the rules, taking tight ends early, and then I just took the wrong tight ends essentially. So good times.
Well, there were no right tight ends really to take this year. Alrighty, let's get back over here. Jorge said, I got slapped around this week by the 4-0 guy. Dang. Yep, I had some losses like that this week where I just got blown out, dude.
Yep.
Had a couple of those.
It's kind of what you said about the tight ends, but I've been feeling that this year especially, nobody knows what they're talking about. Like, if you went heavy running back and took the wrong running backs, you got suckered. If you went zero running back and you took the wrong wide receivers, you got suckered. If you went elite tight end, you got suckered. If you went elite quarterback and you took the wrong quarterbacks, you got suckered. Like, it literally was just a matter of, did you take the right or wrong players at ADP? And there was really no way to tell. Like, Josh Allen looked amazing for 2 weeks and now has looked miserable for the last couple weeks.
Absolutely miserable.
Whereas Mahomes has looked miserable every week.
But I mean, since they basically decided we're just going to play defense and lower the scoring and run the air out of the ball, like with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah, like when it was Pacheco, but now we're pulling retrade Kareem Hunt off the trash heap, and this guy's going for 100 yards a game now.
Annoying, dude. So annoying.
Which kills me because I traded for Mahomes in my dynasty leagues, and now I'm like, seriously? I thought, he bounced back to number one this year. He's got all these weapons, and then one gets their leg broken and Hollywood never plays, and then he snipes Rashee Rice in the kneecap, and
that one sucked.
Now he has no weapons again.
It was like so brutal. The fact that it was Mahomes who like took his knee out.
Just
that was fantasy in a nutshell. Oh God!
But like this year's been so messed up that you got Chuba Hubbard is ahead of Aaron Jones, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson even. Like he's ahead of Josh Jacobs, Travis Etienne. Like he's ahead of all these guys. And it's just like, really, Chuba Hubbard? Like it's so annoying.
I think two of the biggest disappointments so far this season have been Bijan and Breece, though. Like
it's just Breece more than Bijan. Bijan, at least I can tell myself the story. With Breece, the only hope that you have of it being salvaged now is because they let go of Salah.
Yeah.
I saw someone put an amazing tweet out there. It was like, Salah, farewell, Afida, say goodbye.
That's pretty funny. That's all right, let's see really quick. Jay Smells wants to know, should I trade Metcalf for James Conner and Mooney?
No,
I wouldn't. Metcalf. All these years I've been talking crap on Metcalf. He's finally an alpha number one this year.
I mean, I could see a scenario where you make a trade kind of like that if you're desperate at running back and you have depth at wide receiver.
You'd have to be pretty desperate, and you'd have to be deep at receiver. The guy's trying to sell super high on Mooney, though.
No doubt on
that. I'm just envisioning when James Conner inevitably misses his 2 to 4 games this year.
I was about to say he's selling high on Mooney and he's selling healthy on Conner is what he's doing.
Well, like Jack said, he's going to miss a few games, and then he's going to come back to a 50-50 split with Trey Benson is what happens after the injury. So it's only a matter of time, really.
Yeah.
Whereas DK's been like, except for this past week against the Giants, which was just a crazy game. Gino got sacked like 8 times, like throw it out the window. Yeah. Every other game, he's just been one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I think he was, before last week, he was number 5 on the season. Like I have so much DK Metcalf this year because he was going in the 3rd round. I thought that was insane. Like all my best teams, honestly, like I did it in Megala Bowl and in my big money redraft, the exact same first 3 picks: Saquon, Derrick Henry, DK Metcalf. Those are my 2 best teams.
That's paying off. Yeah, Metcalf's having the best year of his career, honestly, under the new coaching regime.
Yeah, he's the number 11 wide receiver on the season so far.
And that was after that trash week last week against the Giants. Or I guess it's
every player.
It feels like this week.
Every player's going to have an outlier here and there. I mean,
especially wide receivers.
Just gonna reiterate that DK Metcalf has only finished a wide receiver one time in his career, but just throwing that out there.
He'll finish top 10 this year if he keeps it up.
If he keeps it up, we'll see. He's not even top 10 right now, and he's done a really good job. So there's probably some really trash wide receivers ahead of him right now, like Darnell Mooney.
Probably.
The thing with Mooney is he's just going to get peppered with targets, but he's just as inconsistent to me as any other wide receiver, where it's like you could end up with a 5 for 60 game next week.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, even if, you got Chase, Lamb, Jefferson, Tyreek, even before the Hill injury, like even they're going to have games here and there where it's like, whoops.
If it makes you feel any better, all the wide receivers ahead of him, you could actually see being ahead of him so far this year. The 10 ahead of him are legit. So, all right. So let's see. Jorge says he's 5-0 in his other 2 leagues. Nice. Do I trade Henry for St. Brown? I have Kamara, Mason, Walker, Hubbard. I'll have Lamb, St. Brown, and Reed. So he would have Lamb, St. Brown, Reed as his wide receivers, and he would have Kamara, Mason, Walker, and Hubbard.
I would do that. Yeah, I like that.
I mean,
but I'm a receiver guy. I know
I see
people
the
like running backs are going to say no, but
I see the whole and I see how it helps his team. My problem is I would want to trade every other running back on this.
I was thinking the same thing, man. I want to trade like Walker. I would even trade like Walker and Hubbard.
Walker or Kamara or Hubbard and pieces or Mason and pieces. Like I would love to do anything other than Derrick Henry.
I would trade Walker and Hubbard to get St. Brown. Like I would trade
Mason and Hubbard or Walker and Mason.
Anything I have to do, I'll have to give away Derrick Henry because to me, Derrick Henry is finishing as the RB1 at this point. Like it's him and Saquon are gonna race for it.
Which is wild considering that like after that first week, everyone's like, ooh, even the second week we're like, we'll see. And now Derrick Henry is exactly what we expected him to be before the season. It's like, oh, here he is.
Now Derrick Henry.
I feel like you just haven't followed Derrick Henry's career if you were worried about his 15 for 40 in a tutty game. Like that's just it happens sometimes.
Yeah. It's scary how fast a guy that size can move. Like you watch him sprint, and it's scary. It's just.
The thing with Henry though is like his bad games. He's going to have a touchdown now. That's the thing with the Ravens is like his 15 for 40 games, it's 15 for 40 in a tutty. Like,
you're right.
So it's like, and it's every game. So that's where, and that was what was so predictable with the Ravens. It's like, well, if Gus Bus had 15 touchdowns, like what is Derrick Henry going to do?
Exactly.
Like that's the prescriptive part that's coming true there. And then with Saquon, like the reason I was so in on him was the personality fit with the Eagles, and that came true. So there's again Derrick Henry right now, very much like aside from Lamar, he's the most important figure on this offense. Like it's very much a one.
They're not throwing the ball at all. So you're right. Derrick Henry is a very important part of that offense.
Absolutely. All right, Alec, half point. PPR start to Debo, Brian Thomas, Devonta Smith, and Tank Dell.
I mean BTJ for sure.
I would think so. I mean,
that's the locked in one for me. Point? The other three are the ones I'm like in question.
Tank Dell at this point. I'm sitting Tank Dell. What a disappointment on the season.
Yeah.
But this could be the Tank Dell week.
We've been saying it for 5 weeks.
Well,
but all three of them have been on the field is the problem. And I said this at the beginning of the year, and everyone was like, oh, but Tank Dell. I was like, Tank Dell is the one that's going to get phased out of this offense. If you're talking about this year and the way it's going to be Nico on the outside, Stephon Diggs mixing in and out of the slot and sometimes on the outside, and that's going to eat into what Tank Dell does. And Tank Dell's the one that is going to have to take the back seat to Diggs' personality, and that's exactly what we've seen. But if you eliminate Nico, now someone's got to go play that number one wide receiver role, and Diggs is going to do that. So Diggs will pick up the slack for while Nico's out, and that's the only time I would be looking to take that away. But I still, in this instance, assuming he's healthy, I would go with Devonta Smith. Only because I haven't seen it from Debo for the same reason of when it's him and Kittle and Ayuk and Jawan Jennings and Jordan Mason. Like, he's just not getting all the work that you would normally expect.
Yep.
And with Tank Dell, you're hoping that he fills in the role because Nico's out. So I'm like, well, the guy that does it week in, week out when he is healthy is Devonta.
Yep.
And BTJ for sure. So it's like those are the two I'd probably go with.
Same.
Yep.
Thomas and Smith.
Yep, Thomas and Smith on that for me.
If Smith is out, though, I think I'm going to go with Debo and hope that they finally get him going. Because I'm not a Tank Dell guy, so I think I'm the coolest on him.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same way. Like, I got to see something out of Dell before I can put him back in there.
If we don't see something out of him with Nico out, then he's droppable probably at this point.
In redraft, yeah.
Yeah, in redraft for sure, yeah. That's what I meant.
Yep.
Don't drop him in Dynasty. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Who do I try and trade Addison Sutton for names? I mean, anyone desperate for wide receivers and could use it too.
So actually, this is kind of going back to his example earlier of trying to trade Amon-Ra St. Brown straight up for Derrick Henry. Like, if this is one of those teams that has that list of running backs, Like, take one of those. Chuba Hubbard is a perfect trade high candidate right now, actually. We talked about how good he's been on the season.
Yeah.
You go look at the schedule coming up for the next 4 weeks. It is horrendous. Like, it's literally it's 4 of the best running defenses. And it's like, well, that's the thing. They're projecting Jonathan Brooks at this point, I think, about 4 weeks away now.
Yeah.
The 4 weeks is a really crap schedule where it's like, even if Chuba's successful, it's going to be a lower ceiling. And Dalton is struggling now. If they're going back to Bryce Young at the end of last game, like, they got no idea what's going on in the quarterback room. Xavier Legette is hurt now. Deontay Johnson's still dealing with his own injuries. Thielen's still on IR. Like, this team is hurting. I think this is a good time to sell high on Chuba. Pair him, Chuba and Jordan Addison. That's honestly, maybe you're not going to get an Amon-Ra St. Brown, but a Chris Godwin, I would like that. Godwin kind of had a real hot start, but he's kind of cooled off the last couple of weeks. I think he's attainable more than an Amon-Ra anyways. Like, try to
and I'm a big Godwin fan.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of like that level of wide receiver though. Like DK Metcalf still feels like too high too, but like Stephon Diggs level of wide receivers, like, or trade for a running back. Like, that's kind of, I would be looking to pair up, but I wouldn't just be giving these guys away. And Sutton is borderline droppable in certain redraft leagues. Like, just because it's like he has Amari Cooper's problem of like, sure, he might get 10 targets, but only 5 of them are catchable.
Yeah.
It's tough. All right, let's see. Tracy could finish top 15 running back.
No.
He's getting a
You need a lot of injuries in that top.
He would basically have to play for the rest of the year and like do what he just did like every week to finish in the top 15.
Yeah, he's essentially starting 4 games back. I mean,
like Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are in the same backfield. I'm pretty sure both of them are in the top 15 right now.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to do. He's starting too late, I feel like, with that.
Yeah.
Millie Mills, what's up? Nah, we don't know about no baseball.
Don't watch baseball, bruv. Sorry.
But you can go discuss it on the Fantasy Football Advice Network.
I've tried.
There's a baseball section on there, and you can go on there and discuss it. So if you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about right now, here's a little video to tell you about it.
We are here. We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Well, there's that. So you can come hang out with us and get some questions answered. If you got questions on that we can't get to tonight, you can always hop over to our app and get them answered over there as well. So, alrighty, let's see. Jorge, Bigsby, Wilson, Bateman, worth picking up. I mean, I'd probably pick up Bigsby. I mean, depends on what you're.
I'd grab Bigsby.
I mean, he's definitely worth a pickup.
Depends on what you're dropping.
It depends what you're dropping. It depends. It also depends on Etienne's injury and like if that's a real thing. Because as much as people want to pretend like Tank Bigsby is that much better or like wish cast it into existence, like Etienne is still going to have a starting role as long as Doug Peterson is there, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, low key, a guy that if you have the room to just stash him, and it depends again on the news that comes out about Aaron Jones's injury, but Ty Chandler is going to be out there in a lot of leagues, and he's someone I'm going to be stashing through the bye week because coming out of the bye week, it's a tough matchup, but then it opens up really well for the Vikings. And again, if Aaron Jones ends up missing time or re-injures himself, like Ty Chandler should definitely be owned and stashed.
Yeah, I agree. He's effective. All right, let's see. Millie says, I got the 30 spot on waivers this week. And that means JuJu is mine. I need a piece of the Chiefs offense. Who's going ahead of JuJu if you got the 3 spot? But also, like, I think that's a pretty good spot there, or a good player to pick up off of waivers. I think he's got a role there now. I mean,
he's basically
going to have to hold him through the bye, and then it is like, didn't he have like a 50-yarder in the game or something, and that's why he ended up with? Because normally I feel like it's 6 for 50 is what he's going to get you.
Yeah, he had a 50-yarder. Yeah, on one play. So,
he's no Rasheed Rice, but he'll be usable in that flex, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he won't get you 20 points every week, but I think he'll get you, around 10 to 13 points. I could see that happening. So, I'll take it.
I think I would rather have Alec Pierce at this point. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but he's the new Gabe Davis, and it's like, if I'm just messing with JuJu to have like, oh, well, the ceiling is 10 points, but the floor is 5. It's like, bro, give me the guy that the floor is 0, but the ceiling is 25.
I think it depends on your matchup. I think it depends.
26, 14, 6, 1, 27. So 3 out of the 5 weeks. And the thing is, whether it's A-Rich or it's Flacco, like, they're just throwing the ball down the field like crazy. And he's the forgotten man. I made the joke of, like, think about you're an NFL defense and you come out, right, and you're like, all right, where's Michael Pittman? Boom. Where's Adonai Mitchell? Boom. Where is the running backs? Boom.
And you're like, wait, where'd that white guy come from?
Whoa, who's that white guy streaking down the field into the end zone? It's Alec Pierce again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that depends on your matchup. If you're needing that big win
Bradley for FFAN creeping into the end zone, catching a 40-yard bomb from Dan the Rocket Man.
Oh, what a shout out there. What a reference. I love it. I
also feel like, though, with Pierce, he benefited from Downs missing the first 2 weeks on those. So a little bit inflated.
Last week. He's coming off 3 for 134 and 1 with Flacco, and Downs played.
See, that's my problem. Like,
this
3
week.
targets.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's his thing. It is the long bomb touchdown because
I don't like starting players like that though. That it's just like huge boom or bust. Unless I'm in a matchup where I am the underdog already, probably going to lose unless I get that boom. Then I'll start a player like that. But if I'm in a dogfight and like I can't afford, a 2-point game from my wide receiver, my flex, like I can't start someone like that.
My thing is, if you're picking up JuJu off waivers and your idea is that I'm going to actively start JuJu, then you are down bad enough to be starting Alec Pierce instead. Is kind of my point. Like if you're 1-4, you're 2-3, and you're like, JuJu is going to save my season here. It's like, is he though?
The problem is like if you're like I have multiple leagues where I'm 1 win, 2 wins, something like that, and I'm just 1 game back out of playoffs easy because everyone's having a crap year, So you've got like 2 players that are maybe undefeated or have 1 loss, and everyone else just kind of jumbled up there with a bunch of 1 and 2 win teams. So it's like you're still not out of playoffs at this point, even if your team is sucking. Like I have 2 0-win team, or no, I have 1 0-win team. And I'm like, man, I might still be able to fight back by playoffs because there's multiple 1 and 2 win teams. It's like, I could still make the playoffs and I have 0 wins at this point. So I don't know. I feel like it's too early to be desperate.
Here's how I feel. Forget about both of them and grab Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, I mean, Tolbert ranked ahead of, but he said he was 3rd in priority. So I assumed that Tolbert was either 1 or 2 on the list.
I think Tolbert's going to get over.
I was assuming probably running backs were ahead of him. But
I feel like Tolbert's going to get overlooked.
It depends on the league, I guess, who's in waivers.
I think he's probably thinking, Tracy is at least one of those 2, right?
Tracy,
and then Bigsby, then Tank.
Yeah.
Tracy, yeah. If it's Tracy and Bigsby, then I could see that. I mean, I would then put in 1 for Tolbert also.
God, you're so Canadian, Tolbert.
He just Frenchied that up, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
He's so Canadian.
Jalen Tolbert. That's
He's from Oklahoma, and he plays in Texas. It's Tolbert.
Tolbert.
I love it.
It's kind of like Stephen Colbert and Colbert, right? It's the same thing.
No, I can't. I honestly, it's what's funny is it is very much a Canadian thing, but even more so, it's a French Canadian thing. Like I cannot see that name and pronounce it like any other way. Like
Tolbert.
What's funny is
I just gotta hear you say it.
Because I'm gonna do it for you guys. Because me and my buddy back in the day in high school, like one of the things we used to do to like kind of mess around as like a joke was we called it like Franglish. Like it's basically speaking French, but with a horrible English accent, like being a real a-hole about it too. I'm like, hey, salut, bonjour, mister. That's what it sounds like to me when you're saying those names. I'm like, oh, bonjour, Mr. Tolbert. Comment allez-vous aujourd'hui?
You do a really good white guy voice. All right, that was Tolbert. I like it.
So on Sesame Street, do you watch Bear and Ernie? Is that how that?
That's all right. Instead of Bert, I get it.
Bird.
All right. We got to get into some of these chats. Over on IG, it says Adams to the Jets. And
I mean, with Daddy Rogers running,
it still feels the most likely to me, but
I'm not excited about it.
I think the hype overall of it is kind of past now. Like nothing happened last week when everybody was talking about it.
Dude, Lazard will be so pissed. He's finally getting some action, and then Davante Adams comes over there. He's gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, Lazard's gonna get friends.
Lazard's still gonna be the wide receiver too. Garrett Wilson's the one who's.
That's true. Garrett Wilson's about to get screwed.
He just saw 22 targets. He'll never see that for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that was nice.
Combined, maybe.
Oh, all right. Let's see. What's up with AJ Brown? Also, is JuJu? I mean, AJ Brown's hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, hamstring.
Should like
we gotta donate some hamstrings to the NFL. These wide receivers. I don't blame them too. I pulled my hamstring, and again, referring to the flag football game at the Fantasy Football Expo, very first play out. And I wasn't even on offense. I was playing defense and trying to cover the kid Hutch Brown, fastest man alive, doing a crosser across the entire field.
The fastest man alive.
I made the mistake of trying to like run full speed at 35 years old, and immediately felt my hamstring twinge, and I was like, "Oh hell no!"
That's right. I didn't pay for it.
I was like, "No."
Well, what was great was after all of that, then our QB, shout out Dan Mater, had his folks running routes for 30 straight seconds.
Oh, God.
Was that it?
It felt like 5 minutes, but
at one point, I like 20 seconds into running routes when the dude wasn't anywhere within 5 yards of me. I yelled across the field, "Just take the yards!" Check it down.
I actually remember that you're streaking across, going, "Take the yards!"
All right. See.
It was fantastic. It was so much fun. I was playing cheerleader. I didn't feel my hammy pop.
Look at this. Bing King says, I finished top 5 million maker once upon a time and currently have the most top 1% finishes on FanDuel NFL. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really jealous because my thing is, and I struggle with this because like I don't have the bank to compete with dudes like Binking here who have been playing for a long time and like have had top 5 finishes. And so like I'm out here trying to thread the needle with like my $100 on the season, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I've got 7. People are like, oh yeah, I've got my advance rate. I'm advancing 73 of my 150 BBM entries. I'm like, I've got 7. 4 of them are going through right now, so we are at more than 50% over here, my man.
Well, what's wild about DFS too, like I've done some DraftKings in the past, tinkered with it. You spend all this time like a puzzle trying to put what you think is this perfect roster together, and then you get last place, and first place is some guy who played like 8 random guys that nobody was looking at, and you're just like, How did you know? How did you know they were going to do that?
You know what's crazy is I've made more money, I feel like, in hockey than I have in football. And it's like maybe it is the Canadian in me that just makes me innately good at it. But
because nobody's playing fantasy hockey. That's why.
Yeah, I think maybe that's part of it too. But
1% have to beat one other guy out.
Last year, and like I only did one entry on tonight's games, and I'm top 50 right now on drafters. So it's like it's so weird how it's like I can't seem to work out the football, but hockey, sure,
top 50. Top 50 at 51.
It's because you're Canadian. It's innate in your brain.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many entries were total entrants, but I'm saying I only did one entry, and the fact that it's in the top 50 of anything is like crazy.
All right.
I feel like in football too, I do that a lot where it's like I get to do like 1 to 3 entries per contest, and then it's like if I place top 10, I'm like, yo, F you all. Like it shouldn't have even been possible on one entry.
He's top 10, doesn't win anything, but he's still going around the room like
it's exactly how I feel. It is. It's like it wins like $30, and I'm like literally doing DX cross shops around the room because I'm like, I did one entry and made top 10. I'm impressed with myself.
That's how I feel about my brackets every year. March Madness. I love it. All righty. Let's see. Who do I start flex? Pitts, Irving, Spears. We trusting Pitts?
Not Spears.
I
would go with Pitts. It's gross, but I'm going to go with the guy that – I mean, Bucky Irving, I wish they would just get rid of Rashod White, but they're not going to.
Catch it too well.
It's Kyle Pitts by a really – like just gross margin. Like I'm not happy about it, but it is Kyle Pitts.
And he's got a good matchup, kind of, right?
I think it has to be Pitts, especially because of the matchup.
Tyjae Spears is a drop candidate. Like Tyjae snap percentage Spears is one of my most favorite players to hate on because everyone keeps trying to tell me how good this guy is, except every time he gets opportunities, he goes like 6 for 9.
So effective.
Wait, are you sure you're not talking about Najee Harris? Sorry, I had to get my weekly crap talk on Najee Harris. He couldn't even get yards against the Cowboys, guys.
Yeah.
Can we please stop defending Najee Harris? Okay, I'm done ranting.
You good? You good?
He's not great, but he's gonna do the exact same thing he did last year. He's gonna piss a lot of people off. He's gonna end up getting dropped, traded, swapped. And he's going to win a lot of leagues for people because that's what he does every year. Is he is a back half
carries, his 20 carries for 30 yards and maybe fall into the end zone once. Yeah.
Yep. And then Arthur Smith's power offense in December, you better believe it.
He's got the same floor and ceiling as JuJu Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
Fergie was a good tight end to take this year, though. Yep.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
Yeah, I was really in on Fergie-licious, but I even feel like he's been kind of mid. There isn't a single tight end, I think, except for maybe Brock Bowers, where you're like really genuinely happy that you drafted them. Like the guys, the guy that I think I have most relentlessly terrorized in fantasy football is Dallas Goedert. I don't think there's any person on this planet for fantasy football purposes that I have made fun of more than Dallas Goedert. And this man is crushing it this year.
Well, he's crushing it with the top 2 receivers on the team out.
Yeah.
They'll go back to obscurity now that they're back. So
yeah, I don't know. He had one game where he crushed it. Otherwise, he's been quite mediocre.
He did okay in week 4 before the bye, but
no, he did. It's okay, but he.
I meant to say he crushed it for Dallas Goedert standards because his entire career, this man has never had more than 850 receiving yards, has never had more than 60 receptions, has never had more than 6 touchdowns. Trust me, I know the stats. I make fun of them all the time.
Dallas Goedert is your Najee Harris. I get it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I think it's a bit premature to state nobody knows what's going on in the NFL this year. It hasn't been that drastic, and it's only week 6. I mean, it's been pretty – fantasy football has been pretty drastically crazy this year.
Pretty wild.
It's been very hard so much so that like what you would think would be the top rosters in every one of your leagues is probably on the bottom half, and some really crap rosters are on the top half right now. Like
Pretty
that's
sure Jawan.
It's
I'm pretty
literally
sure
about to flip.
Jawan Jennings has more touchdowns on the season than Sam Laporta. So, like, come on. It's weird. It's weird out there.
There's been a lot of
Carter
injuries.
got hit with an oblique injury. He's going to miss a few weeks. Can
Yeah.
you tell me who's the backup quarterback for the Saints?
Actually, yes. Well, maybe if they let him go, Spencer Rattler. And we only know that because we're Oklahoma boys.
Oh, okay. I
And
forgot.
We know
I
Spencer.
was gonna say, I thought it was sexy Jake Hayner. That's what I was doing though.
Oh yeah, yeah. When he came out, I was like, "Who the hell is that?"
Rattler will talk a whole bunch of shit. He'll get out there, he'll suck, and then he'll throw a fit like a diva when he gets benched. That's what he did at OU.
There you go. Well, he was getting messed around. I blame Lincoln Riley.
But I'm saying, so now what do you do with Olave, Kamara, Rashid Shahi? Like those are all dead assets until
No, Kamara. Give me Kamara still.
Yeah, I'm all over Kamara.
I
still
mean,
want Kamara. Dump off.
Kamara.
He takes
It doesn't matter. He could get 0 yards. He could get negative yards for every catch. He could be tackling.
I'm saying Kamara in the beginning of the year, and especially like when you looked at like the first couple weeks of the season, like we were fully back on like super Camario. Now we are all the way downgraded to little small Camario at the beginning of the game when he like literally like could get killed by anything. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe you're gonna get 7 receptions for 25 yards and no touchdowns, but that's only good in full PPR leagues.
So message to Kamara, he needs to eat more mushrooms.
Got it.
For up to super Camario. But no, like I think Shahi takes the biggest hit.
Not recognize how bad the situation is.
Shahi takes the biggest hit with no car plan for sure. I think he'll lean on Olave a little bit, but you're not going to see high yardage. You'll see a bunch of catches probably, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
And they've been talking Davante Adams over.
Oh, he's not going there now.
There's no way now.
He literally crossed them off the list. He was like, nope.
Well, left him anyway.
I'm good, man.
All right, let's see. Brees ADP was too high during draft season. I mean,
I disagree. Process over results. Brees is a great running back just because his team has been trash at using him and having a trash O-line. Like, I don't think that it was the wrong pick necessarily. Like,
it wasn't wrong to expect him to be a stud because he should be.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Bijan too. And it's like, I look at Bijan, the thing that I think infuriates me about Bijan is the coaching staff, right? I don't usually buy into coach speak and that kind of thing. And when they said, oh, we're going to use him in the CMC role, I was like, okay, that's fine. But I know that what you guys actually mean is the Kyron Williams role that you had last season in Los Angeles with the Rams. That's where this whole freaking coaching staff is from. So I basically was like, oh, well, I look at Bijan and I comp him to Kyron. I'm like, he's just a souped up Kyron. So this should be lock, stock, 2 smoke and barrel. Like, give this dude 25 touches a game and we're rolling here. And that's not what has happened at all. And it's really weird. I don't know what it is with the coaching staff. And I get that Tyler, I think part of it, and there is a stat out there too, that part of the problem is Tyler Algiers. People are like, why is Tyler Algier out there on 3rd down on a pass blocking thing? It's like, because he is such a better pass blocker than Bijan. That's kind of part of the problem. And I really hate kind of stupid shit pops up in the NFL where it's like, I get that Tyler Algier is grading out at 20% better of a pass blocker, but that's not why you drafted Bijan, was for pass blocking. You drafted him to be a generational running back that gets 25 touches a game. What are you doing?
Exactly.
This idea that, like, while they won games, it's like, look, barely scraping by and winning games by 2 points when you're throwing the ball 50 times a game, like, that's not a way to live in the NFL. And the one thing I'll say, too, is they faced 5 of the toughest defenses in the NFL. Like, they faced the Steelers, the Saints, the Bucs with Vita Vea. Like, it's been all really tough defenses for the first month. it's about to loosen up. It's about to be like the Panthers and like a bunch of other like kind of tomato can teams coming down the stretch. So I do think Bijan can get it right. And we'll see with Brees if I know for one game, for sure, this next game, the Jets are going to come out and kick ass. It's kind of a thing where it's like that interim coach come out and play the one game real good, and then it'll just go right back in the tanker, and we'll see if I do think that with Ulbrich, though, usually, and Saleh was a defensive coach, which is why it's funny, but it's like usually defensive coaches want to lean on the running game more. And so I kind of wonder what's going to happen with the Jets now. It is curious to see if, like, is this just going to be Aaron Rodgers, offensive coordinator, on the field?
Probably will be.
All right, so I'm going to go back to this Metcalf for Connor and Mooney trade. Smell says he does need a running back. So I guess I could post my team. So this is what he has at the moment. It's a bit mixed up. So his
very out of order.
running backs are White, Hall, Chase Brown, Brooks, and Pollard. Wide receivers. Let me look through here. Deontay Johnson, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Tank Dell. I mean, I would
see a couple things.
I wouldn't trade away Metcalf. Metcalf is also one of his wide receivers. For James Conner here, I would not do.
Honestly, I'd probably just ride this out for now. Like, I kind of like this roster here.
I mean, I think
there are moves to be made, but I see them differently. So the first one I'm doing is I need to dump some of these Panthers players. One of them needs to be off my roster. Yep. I'm either going to go find the Chuba Hubbard guy, and I'm going to try and trade him Jonathan Brooks. And Mac, because now that I've drafted him and held him for this long, I need to get some value to let him go. I'm not just going to let him go. So that's one possibility. If I want to keep Brooks, the other possibility then is I need to figure out a way to shop Deontay around. And I would be looking to pair like a Deontay with an asset that I don't want on my team, like a Rashod White, and move into something more comfortable that I think people are still like. David Montgomery is a perfect running back that is absolutely performing, will continue to perform for the rest of the year, but is totally buyable. Like, people don't look at David Montgomery on their team like, oh, this is my RB1 and I'm staunch and I must keep David Montgomery. Like, no, he's a sellable asset. And if you send them Rashod White and Deontay Johnson, and especially if they need a wide receiver, they might not do it, but they might. There's a good chance. That's actually a trade that could be feasible. So that's kind of where I'm looking of like, all right, maybe I want to shop Deontay and Rashod White. And also, if you're in a single quarterback league and it's 10 to 12 teams, like, I'm trading Stroud or Love. That's another where I will play the waiver guys when I have to, but otherwise I will take one of those dudes as my QB1. I don't need to have both. So that's another package where you could try maybe Deontay and a quarterback to a quarterback need team, or Deontay and Rashod White to a wide receiver team. And it's like you look for guys like
high on Pitts. Yeah. All right, I got to jump in so I can get that out. Sell high on Pitts if you can.
I feel like this trade doesn't fit your team scenario. You are the one that should be packaging 2 for 1 to get a stud upgrade. You have so many good tradable, packageable players here that you should be packaging 2 and 3 for 1s to upgrade studs, not the opposite way.
Yeah,
is how I view your roster right now. Because this is a great. You have 2 startable quarterbacks. You have 2, now startable tight ends. Most teams don't have 1 startable tight end, and then you have depth, and so that's a lot of things that people don't have. You should be doing the 2 for 1s, not the opposite way around. That's my advice on that. So, yeah. All right, it's crazy about the running backs this year. All the clowning I took. Clowning I took for drafting Henry in the second was crazy. Really? Henry went in the first round in almost all my drafts.
You're in a league full of amateurs if they were busting your balls for drafting.
Yeah, he was gone before I could even have a chance.
I think it depends on the league too, because I do think there were a lot of leagues, especially I don't know if he's talking about a redraft, but I know in Dynasty, if you took Henry in the second round, people were like, "Oh, he's old and going to a team." And,
I'm sure this is redraft.
But even in redraft, like second round, I don't know. The wide receiver truthers were really hard this year. It felt like they were like, "Oh, but Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson." I'm like, "Yeah, no, give me Derrick Henry over both those guys."
Yeah. I made a mistake in a draft. I took Garrett Wilson over Derrick Henry. I had to make the choice, and I regret my decisions at the moment. So bad regrets. All right. I traded Dalton and Evans for Stafford and DK in a super flex league, FYI, before this last week. I think I did all right. Especially since Dalton got benched. Yeah, I'd say you did fine.
Yeah, I mean, you traded Mike Evans for DK Metcalf. I mean,
yeah,
Mike Evans will have good weeks. DK Metcalf will have good weeks. I think the only thing here is staff. That's another one of like, sometimes I don't understand NFL fans, or especially fantasy football fans, and especially when it comes from analysts. I'm like, the whole point is you're supposed to analyze the situation and understand that no, the Rams are not just trading Matt Stafford for shits and giggles this year. Like,
Right.
I don't know why people think that's going to happen just because they're like, oh, we're going to do him a favor and send him to a Super Bowl team. Like, that's not how it works, bro.
We just really love this guy, so we're going to do that for him.
Stafford's there for the rest of the year, so he's more locked in than Dalton.
Slay needs to save the Niners defense. The Niners will probably end up pulling in Slay or something. Them or the Eagles, I don't know. They get richer in coaching and players all the time. It's just
he's a great DC. He's just not a head coach.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Mill says, "Oh, he's washed." Who are we even talking about here?
He's talking about what people were saying about Derrick Henry.
I see. I had to read further into it. I was like, "What?" Yeah. AJ knows what's up. AJ Brown in the house here. Eagles stink, Philly stink. Hey, he knows.
Agreed.
Nick will be fired next week after Cleveland beats the Eagles. God, I hope so. Sirianni sucks. I hate that guy.
Yeah, that dude definitely needs to go, but I don't think that Cleveland beats them right now. Cleveland has their own problems.
Dude, Cleveland has too many issues.
So bad. Okay, Dak or Love? Start 3. Okay, let's start with that one. Holy crap. Okay, Dak or Love? That's the first one, I guess.
Love.
Normally, I want to say Love, but
Love.
And I know Detroit's a good defense, but it just feels like that's a little bit of a shootout situation. And I think CeeDee Lamb, especially, like, I don't know what did you guys see the whole lip reading fiasco of like,
I don't know what he said.
I don't know what he said.
I saw one that I think was legit. And it was jump ball. Like he's saying it of like just trust me.
Yeah, I got you.
Some jump balls.
Yeah.
And I do think that this week might be a little bit of a get right game for CeeDee Lamb, and therefore Dak should be good. I don't know if he'll be better than Love, but I really like Dak this week, so I just have a little cause for pause, but I probably still go with Love.
I'm just going Love at home here.
Yeah, well, it boils down to the matchups. Like, Dallas and Detroit's going to be a shootout, but so is Green Bay and Arizona. And Arizona's defense is worse than Detroit's in the passing game.
But they just held the Niners down a little bit. So,
well, everybody has a big game here and there, I guess. But
that's what I mean.
Well,
it's like
they've been bad against the pass until this week. They got up a little bit for the Niners, I guess.
All right, guys, we gotta speed this up. We're supposed to have 1 minute left, but we've chatted a lot, so we're gonna have to speed this up and get some questions answered really. Start 3: Myers, Ridley, Tracy, Ford, White.
I'm going with Jacoby Myers, Tyrone Tracy, and Rashod White still.
Yeah, same.
Who's Ford playing? Am
I? Philly.
It does, and it doesn't matter. They are refusing to give him touches for no reason. I put a thing out too of like, it's been driving me nuts as a Ford owner of like this dude's averaging over 5 yards a carry. He's been great in every game, and they just stopped giving him the ball because I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can't argue with you then on that. You're right with Ford. There's more there. Sorry. Oh, let's see. DeMario or Polk is a no for me.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to between the two, I'm going with Polk only because they're starting May.
Yeah, that's what I was going to think too, because the new starter there. Mooney, Tolbert, Wandell, or Lazard rest of season?
Mooney.
Wandell.
Oh, I'm between those two. Oh, give me Wandell.
Corey goes Tolbert next.
Lazard. No, I think I'm going Wandell just because.
And it tells you I'm being honest because I'm a Cowboys fan and I just picked the Giants. So
I think they'll just find ways to get him the ball.
Don't take that lightly.
I just don't think there's enough balls to go around there in Atlanta week in and week out there either. I don't know. I don't feel good about it. Wandell or Mooney are both pretty good. I hate having to pick between the two of them.
I feel like they're the same pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm just going with the dude on the better offense.
Yeah, better QB, better offense. Yeah. My only thing going back to that really quick though is the Giants are going to be down in most games and be forced to throw the ball. So
everybody's focused on neighbors. Yeah.
Which they should be. Dell or Pittman PPR.
Pittman.
Yeah. As long as Flacco.
We talked about Dell at length earlier. So
I think I want Pittman even with Richardson there. I mean, at this point, Dell's doing jack. So okay, I'm gonna try Mason Hubbard.
God, Tank Dell is doing me. Oh God.
Got it. Tracy or White? Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy.
Let's see. Both Tracy and Tank on waivers. Who take shot at?
Tracy.
Yeah, I mean probably Tracy. I mean, but that's kind of they're two different positions. Which position do you need worse? You know, but probably.
Does he mean Tank? I'm sure he means Bigsby, not Tank Dell.
Oh yeah. Still Tracy.
It's still Tracy. Yeah.
Yeah. Guess I could post. Oh, that did that. Albert in the house. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Let's see. I don't remember what this is for. I know I have Addison and Sutton from 1 and 4.
I always differentiate on that trade.
I got it.
If I know Jorge, he'll have it on the app. We can answer.
Yep, that'd be nice. Cup off my arm, my wide receiver. CD, Debo, JuJu, Tank Dell, Mooney, Cup. Need to drop one, please.
Off my arm.
Oh, if I'm dropping one out of there, it's JuJu.
Yeah, it's JuJu.
Yep. But you should try to trade a 2 for 1.
Trade Dell.
I actually think I would drop Tank Dell right now. Depending on how deep
I'm not dropping him yet. I'm trading him to that true believer. I'm not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like between JuJu right now has trade value. I would go try to trade JuJu as quickly as possible.
Put them together. JuJu Dell. Go get whatever you can.
Upgrade your tight end. I bet you need a tight end upgrade. Derrick in the house. What's up, man? All right, let's see. PPR send Monty and Higgins for Saquon. My roster is this. Yeah, I'm probably.
I'll send my house for Saquon.
I don't even care what your roster
is.
It's
your whole team, bro.
It's Saquon for those.
I mean, he's got good wide receivers still. So yeah, I'm doing that. He's got and Metcalf. Sorry. Okay, before I'm looking to upgrade run back, it's 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Yeah, I would do that. And Higgins is probably going to play for a couple more games, and he's going to go sit anyways because he'll want a timeout. So, all right, last one, and then we're out of here, guys. Fellas, I lost Rice. Got to add 2. Bateman, Ray, Polk, Mike Williams, or Tolbert. Well, Tolbert's got to be on there.
Tolbert and Polk probably would be my 2.
Yeah, I mean, I want to make a case for Bateman, but I can't.
Nope.
So,
okay, I'm gonna ask a stupid question. Who is Ray?
Ray McLeod for the.
Oh, okay, got it. I was thinking about the last name.
He's just been getting if it was like full PPR and you were in a 20-team league, then Ray McLeod would be viable.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm taking. when I make decisions like this, just in general for fantasy football, I usually will add one upside guy and one floor guy. And to me, the floor guy is Tolbert, the upside guy is Polk.
Yeah, I think it's Tolbert.
We got one more Tolbert in there before the end.
All right, I do have to do one more for Donovan here because it's interesting. Neighbors for Barkley, straight up.
If I'm getting Barkley, yeah.
See, I'd rather have Neighbors there.
I want whichever my team needs, a running back or a wide receiver.
I would want Barkley kind of regardless, but that's only because, again, I'm very much of like, this is the NFL, bro. You're not getting 15 targets a game without getting smashed to bits by the end of this season. It ain't happening. He's already on concussion list now.
I mean, who isn't, you know?
But I'm saying if you're getting 13 to 15 targets a game, it's the Giants too. It's not like they're protected targets. I just feel like Danny Dimes is laying them out to dry a lot of these throws.
Well,
he's getting crushed out there.
Not like Barkley has the greatest injury history either, so.
But it's just the way the Eagles utilize him, and just this whole thing with him and the Eagles, I think is just copacetic. It's coalescing. Like, it's just all the good things right now. Like, I look at
use all the big words, man.
I look at week one. Go back to week one after they won. Watch how happy AJ Brown was talking about Saquon on this team. The entire team feels that way. This is why I was so into Saquon going to the Eagles, because when he was drafted for the Giants, they said if this man was a quarterback, he would be number 1 overall. He has every possible intangible you could ever want from a football player in terms of leading a team, being a role model, being a locker room leader, like all of those intangibles that we usually look for in players. Like Saquon has all of those things and more. And that's why I was like, when he goes to the Eagles, and they already have a good offensive line and a good team structure around that player,
all that skill,
it's going to light like fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I think having a rushing quarterback like Hurts makes him more dangerous, just the same as I think Lamar Jackson makes Derrick Henry more dangerous. It pauses those linebackers for half a second, and it's dangerous. They already can't afford it, and now they have to have it. So, all right, guys, one more for Randy, and then we're getting off here because Jack explains things so long that it allows people to come on and ask more questions. Who do I grab off waivers? Tank, Chandler, JuJu?
Chandler.
I think it depends.
Chandler's on buy, though. If you really need it for this week, I would take Tank. But if it's for, like, I really want to know what's going on with Aaron Jones. I think I have Chandler just slightly above. But
yeah, because Aaron Jones' injury history and him, he could miss some extended time, and we just don't know it yet. So Chandler has some good potential here.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for joining us. Jack, appreciate you hopping in here, spending some time with us, and catch us for all our other streams for the week on the channel. There's plenty of them for plenty of advice, and join us on our social media network to ask questions, answer questions, come hang out, and talk ball 24/7. Until next time, see ya.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com.